Reloading. Just reloading here. We're back on normal mode. Messed around with survive a little bit. Bit off a little more than I can chew. Especially since I'm rusty on the in-game early stage mechanics, as it were. So in normal mode, we're kinda just doing a lot of what I'd consider current pre-beyond end-game content, I guess. So, you know, right now there's a lot of just traveling I'm doing just for fun, just because I felt like I was so just head down for so long while I was playing this game. I didn't really take the time to explore as much as I should have. And I mean, I still did plenty of exploring and some amazing things, but I don't know, there's that sense of there's always something more out there that I haven't seen. This is a really nice planet, actually. I believe it's a paradise planet that I'm on currently. Really good bonuses on the resources, flora, fauna, and sentinels. And it's pretty. It's got a nice lake down there. Whatever these rock things are. Bunch of trees. And these trees, too. I don't know. Always like those. I could put a base here, I suppose, but, you know, I've really got a collection of bases. And I don't know if I really need any more. It's hard to keep them straight these days. You know, I label them, but still. So, you know, this ship here, it's nothing special. It's kind of my burner ship at this point. It's the last one that I have. I looked for an S-Class for this for a while. Obviously, the layout on this is not ideal. But I've been looking for a nicer version of it, but no luck. Exosuit's a mess right now with weird junk that I have for some reason. But, you know, I don't have the best layout for upgrades, but it's decent enough as far as jetpack goes, shield, life support. Need to recharge these guys. Hazard protection, which, you know, it's a little annoying having to recharge all the time, to be quite honest. You know, second page technology stacked up more jetpack, more shield. Clearly I need to recharge my underwater packs here, but I've also got the Remembrance Seed and the Star Seed from doing the Atlas Path and the Artemis Path. So that's kind of a general layout there that I think, you know, if you're doing prep work for your exosuit, you should really try and get these mods, get the S-Class, you know, stack them up on the first page and the second page, you know. It goes a long way to have them stacked up. That's by no way the min-max, that's just the way that I set it up and haven't bothered to work on it much. Multi-tool, you know, try and get that S-Class. The bonuses on this are not that great. I've seen a lot better out there, but I like the way this one looks, and it works just fine, especially with the upgrades for me. You know, these scanners are huge bonuses, you know, if you can get even just one of these. Look at that bonus there, you know, 6,000 and 7,000 plus. So it helps a lot, and when you stack them up, you know, you notice the white border around them. That means that they're working in tandem, where these are green. But yeah, stacking up these scanner ones, it's just such a good way to get money early on, right? So if you're going to get an S-Class mod, this would be probably the one to get first, early on, right? Plasma launcher, it's great for blasting open those manufacturing facilities. That's really the only reason I have it. You know, having a better mining laser is incredible. It just, the heat dispersion and fuel efficiency, it's incredible. So, freighter, I finally got an S-Class. It's not a very big one as far as the visuals of the ship. I wish I had one of those larger ones, maybe one of the Star Destroyers. But this one's cool. The hyperdrive's good. You don't need it, but I like to have the different colored hyperdrives on my freighter. I think it is handy because depending on what type of ship. So, for example, if you're warping around the galaxy, you might, if you're doing it a lot, then probably use a nice exploring ship, with high warp capabilities. But if you are trying to jump through black holes during certain parts, you kind of want to have a burner ship like this, because any technology on the main page is going to break that has a number, or a letter. So A, B, C, S, anything on the main page is going to break. Technology page actually protects them, but when you go through a black hole, it'll break one at a time, at random, until eventually they'll all be broken. These default mods don't break. So this has kind of been my black hole burner ship for a while. So that way if I want to travel through black holes, I use that. So when you're doing that kind of travel and you plan on taking a handful of black holes back to back, then you'd probably want to get these upgrades. The last upgrade, I think it was this one. That one you have to have a faction with any species of rank 8 or higher. It's really not that hard to do. But, so we're gonna go ahead and blast off here. And then I guess, going back to the inventory, probably the biggest thing you want to do is just storage is king, right? I'm filled up with junk here. I can pretty much delete all this. But, having the cargo slots are huge. 48 is the max currently before Beyond. This can give you, your elemental stacks, as it were, of up to 500 in one block, which is awesome, versus, your exosuit. You can also get 48 slots, but they can only hold up to 250 per stack on this main page. And, it fills up quick, because once you start throwing these mods in, yeah. See if there's any other planetoids here that I want to go look at before I leave. Barren planet. Not super exciting. Yeah, I really can't wait for the VR. I wish I had one. I don't. So, hopefully I'll be able to try this game out in VR at some point. Alright, so not super impressed with the other planets here. The Paradise planet we were just at was awesome, but let's move away from the planet a little bit. We've got planetary interference. We're on the brakes. Calling the old freighter. Love that, warping it in. So fun. Alright. So, like I said, this ship, it's kind of the burner one. I use it to go through black holes if I need to. Not a great layout, not great stats, but it does the job for that purpose. But I do actually like the way it looks. Like I said, I wish I had that S-Class version of that ship. It's definitely cool looking. So, this is one of my other main ships. It doesn't have a lot of mods on it, actually. This is what I was planning on using these resources if and when I decide to go into the next galaxy. I spent, 180 plus hours just in the one. And I never moved through to the next. I'd like to, I guess. But anyway, this was kind of my bug-out bag ship of sorts. So I could go through into the next galaxy and have all the resources I would need, because it's going to break, just like the black holes do, but to a grander extent. It'll break everything on your main page of all of your different exosuit, multi-tool, starship, and so on and so forth. So that was kind of the concept behind that ship. This one here, another S-Class. But again, nothing special on it. It's just kind of a storage ship for me right now. And it namely has the resources I need to repair my fleet. Although I don't seem to need to repair them very much anymore because most of them are A and S class now. So this one's the Dogfighter. Definitely not min-maxed very well, and the slots set up on the layout on this page is terrible. But whatever. It was the first S class fighter that I got, and I decided to mod it out to high heaven. Again, no way min-max, but love this ship. Again, we're talking about, things that you want to prep before Beyond, and having your stuff tricked out is helpful. This is another 48-8 ship. I really like this one just for having the ability to haul things around and blow stuff up. And you're pretty tough. That shield bonus on this is pretty nice. But I need to do some more work on it. I haven't maxed that out with mods the way I should have. This is kind of the exploring ship. I've seen a lot higher or better hyperdrive distances than this. But this one's okay. It's good enough. For most things I'm using it for, it does just fine. So it's kind of just the travel ship, get around. So we'll look at the base that's on the freighter. I had it really large for a bit and then was having crashing issues, so toned it down dramatically. Last thing you want is to not be able to land on your freighter and not have it crash. So yeah, I had a bunch of stuff in here. It was super full, but more or less I wanted to bring a version of my circuit board farm with me. And although I don't farm much these days because I have a lot of money, it was actually something that I really enjoyed before I made a lot of money. I really liked the farming. I think a lot of people thought it was tedious. I thought it was actually pretty good. I don't know why, but I enjoyed it. So my whole fleet, they're all out on missions right now. So this is another thing that it's good to work on before Beyond comes out. So I've been working on leveling these guys up. You can buy them S-Class, you can buy them A, B, C, whatever. But, it's pretty rare, and I knew you could level them up, so I decided to go that route. A lot of the missions are about 25 hours. You can send 5 frigates out at a time. So you could have 25 total. 5 times 5. The best, kind of builds that you'd want to go for is, you got your combat, exploration, industrial, trade, so on and so forth. You want to have, supports the other one, you want to have one of 5 of each minimum, if you can. Unfortunately, I did not do that. But trying to get all these A's into S's and so on and so forth and continue. These last ones, I've intentionally not leveled them up because I'm trying to decide if I need to delete them by destroying them, because apparently there's no delete feature for some reason currently. I think it used to be, but it's not anymore. I imagine there's a reason behind that, but I don't know what it is. Don't know what it is. So we'll travel go to one of my old bases. Am I in a solar system that has no... Yep, I am. No space station, so let's warp to one that does. So should be good to go. So we'll warp on over, teleport over to one of the old bases, kind of see where the idea for that farm originated and how that developed. Another base that I had much larger and had to tone it down dramatically. Just too much latency and crashing issues. It would blue screen. You know, I want to have that massive city, you know, just built. But I didn't have much luck with that, so. Anyway, other things you want to advance before Beyond. You want to really unlock, you know, all of the blueprints from your base. So you need those salvage materials, run around on a planet, find them, they look like weird Wi-Fi icons or something, take them out of the ground, and some of them drop like 1, some of them drop like 4 or 5 at a time. So if you get lucky, they add up pretty quick. Just drive around in one of your exocrafts, not really a big deal, you just pop out every now and then and look for them. But the issue is, it only, for some reason, the blueprint analyzer at your base will only show you 3 pages? 3 pages worth? So, there's a lot more than 3 pages worth of stuff in there. And there's some pretty good stuff that's hidden kind of behind some of those items. You know, like biodomes. For some reason, that was one that I didn't have. Thought I did, but I didn't. And, you know, it was locked between some high value. I think there were 8 or 10 salvage technology per thing that I had to purchase. And then eventually it popped up in the pool that I could see. There's definitely some cool things going on in there, and they're going to come out more, I imagine, in Beyond, so you want to try and unlock everything for your base building. Imagine bases are going to be a lot more dynamic in the future with Beyond. So, and historically, that's kind of been the way it seems. They just really add on a lot of little things. The other thing you'd want to do is unlock all of blueprints to make things. You know, like kind of the end game ones right now are those fusion igniters, stasis devices. So, you know, those are, a stack of those is like 78 million. And if you have a lot of money, it doesn't really matter anymore, but when you're starting out, you can actually make those. It's a pretty good feeling to be able to make a couple stacks of those and turn around and sell them. Although, for me, I used circuit board farming for a long time. That seemed to work fine initially. Alright, so we're kind of on my home planet of sorts. Like I said, I toned this base down a lot. I was just having latency issues. So it's kind of a cool planet. It's really nothing special. I've been on dozens and dozens of planets like this, but it does just fine. So we'll take a little tour of the farm. I don't use it much anymore. And obviously, if I go into the next galaxy, I probably won't be able to come back unless they change that with Beyond. So we'll see. But anyway, I was starting to add on a couple wings over here to be able to do living glass farms. But I never really spent that much time doing it. But I tried to color code every biodome and link them together. It got really confusing. It definitely was not the best layout. But, you know, I added on, stacked up lots of, like, star bulbs, you know, and these wings over here because I needed that resource a lot to do circuit board farming. But as you can see, it's a giant maze. It just keeps going. So it took me a bit to figure out. But eventually I got the hang of it. And then I did a bunch of selenium as well. That was something I felt like I was just burning through a lot. So I decided to make a lot of these. So it was a pretty big section for just the selenium alone. But yeah, it's a big farm. But like I said, I just don't use it anymore. But I did put a lot of time into this base. I've seen a lot of bases out there and a lot of really good farms. This one is nothing special, but overall, I was relatively happy with this setup. So yeah, other types of things that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to obviously complete all your base building missions, right? I don't remember the creatures on this planet being hostile like this. You know, a lot of things changed, huh? So you want to, obviously complete all your base building missions. You want to recruit all these NPC guys and do all their different things, for your bases. So stuff that you definitely want to try and complete before Beyond. This is an easy one. It takes time, but honestly, the base missions were really fun from what I remember. There's a couple that are frustrating, but go through that, try and get those knocked out. But yeah, you want to get your exocraft going. My personal favorite is the Pilgrim motorcycle, right? Thing is super fun. I tricked this one out a lot. Not necessary for it, but wow, apparently I have a stack of these in here for some reason. So I really just boosted out the speed on this. So this by no way is like an amazing exocraft, but it's fast and it's really all I use it for. So I don't really care too much. Should probably change the color and make it look cooler. That friend, he made a base over here. I think that was another issue when we both had uploaded our bases after they were these sizes. I think that's really when we started to have some of the latency. I realized that in first person it cuts down on it a bit, but I don't know. I like playing third person. I like being the frogman. Kind of designed this guy after the frog from Chrono Trigger. I should probably manual save it. I haven't done that in a while. So this lower section's way too big. That's the one thing that I've learned from base building is less is more. You can really get a lot done with a lot less glamorous bases, and it takes just so much less time and resources. And it's not the resources so much, it's really time. I don't even know how many hours I put into that base. 30, 40? I don't know. Long time. I think I rebuilt the whole thing twice. So yeah, I'd look on those blueprints for the manufacturing facilities. We might have to go scope them out, but you can find them by using navigation data, putting down a signal booster, looking for secure frequencies, and then you can find these manufacturing facilities. They don't always pop up, but they seem to pop up more often than not when scanning for them. And you can blast open the doors with a plasma launcher, which works really well, or use your starship's lasers, which actually work pretty well too. But you got to be a good pilot at slow speeds and whatnot. But it's really not that difficult. So yeah, getting those. You get inside, and the sentinels are after you, but they won't bother you when you're inside. And then you can solve the puzzle. And if you fail the puzzle, it's not a big deal. Just reload and try it again, and then it'll give you blueprints. So you look at all the things that you want to be able to craft, and there's quite a few of them. But ultimately, you're trying to craft your fusion igniter and your stasis device, and you need 3 things prior to that. In order to do that. So I can't remember exactly how many steps it takes to make the fusion igniter and the stasis device, but I do recall it taking me a little while the first time I did it. So underwater base, I kind of just did this for fun, just because I could. I was pretty happy with my base before, but I really just wanted to have something underwater. This is actually a pretty nice planet, underwater planet. It's not super deep, but I've been to a lot of planets where they're just not deep. They're just super shallow. I mean, I don't know if that's where I'm landing, and then I'm just not at, like, the deep part of the ocean, but, you know, I usually go scope them out to see how deep the water is, and it's never very deep. So this is another exocraft that's great to level up. So I put a few of these, you know, drives on there so I could go faster. I also stacked up a bunch of the fuel. I found it actually pretty frustrating that was the only way to charge it up, versus it having access to other types of resources. But I really like this planet as far as underwater goes. I love how it parks my ship down there. Very interesting. Fight the liftoff out of the ocean. So yeah, this planet, it's actually a cold planet, and I had spent time here a long time ago. I had no idea that there was an ocean on the other side of it. No idea. Not until I started the Abyss quest, and that's the planet it took me to. I found that to be rather interesting. Other things you might want to work on here. Let's go to the space station. You might want to work on. God, there's just so much. There's so much to do. It's hard to make like a comprehensive list of what to be prepared for before the next expansion. Money, obviously, right? Nanites, you know, the best way that I found to farm for nanites when I was looking for them originally was these larval cores. You know, you open up the eggs and the horrors come out and try and eat you, and if you're good enough, you can get a bunch of them quickly. I always just jetpacked up on top of the building. But there's also the trick where you can build a little shelter around the eggs. I recall that working decently. And I think there's some people that mine underneath them, get underneath them. I haven't tried that though. Yeah, traveling, you know, to the Galactic Hub maybe. And again, I don't know, you know, once Beyond and No Man's Sky Online comes out, you know, will the Galactic Hub and things like that be as important? You know, I really enjoyed my traveling to the Galactic Hub. You know, I thought it was a blast. I saw a lot of cool planets, made some cool bases on the way. And I found some cool player-made bases when I got there. I think I might have went to New Lenin, capital. So, you know, I enjoyed it. But, you know, if No Man's Sky Online is what I think it is, you know, there could be a lot of features going on with that. You know, are we talking multiplayer bases? You know, that's what it looks like in the trailer. Guilds, maybe? Clans, right? Trade economy, some sort of a global trade economy, which would be crazy. There's a lot of rich people out there. A lot of resources. So I don't know. I just curious, but I enjoyed the journey to the Galactic Hub. It was definitely worth it. I recommend doing it. Took me a while. I wasn't a very good space traveler, apparently, like I thought I was. But I did enjoy it. The other thing that I did was I also, you know, I started hunting for more rare planets. I mean, I'm sure I've seen pictures of these. I just have never seen a lot of them. And then, you know, I also proceeded manually to the center of the universe, or the galaxy, excuse me. The galaxy. It was something I really wanted to do. I wanted to see if I could, and I did successfully, and it took me a good, you know, couple days, I think. You know, I used a combination of black hole roulette and warping, as well as, you know, using what is it, the Pilgrim Path thing, right? And typing in the coordinates from the signal booster, landing on planets, and kind of figuring it out that way. Didn't have to worry about that so much with traveling towards the center. You know, that was a lot easier, but when I was traveling to the Black Hub, I had to use that every 5 jumps or so, just because I wasn't super versed in traveling and translating a 2D map into a 3D environment. But it was a lot of fun to make that journey. So I just got to this planet. I'd seen pictures or videos of this, I don't know, a year or two ago, of a planet like this. And obviously I'm very unlucky because it's the first time I've ever seen one. But it's super cool, I think. I mean, these plants are just so large. Whatever these are, I don't know, rock. But it doesn't look like you can scan them. But really cool world. I like this one a lot. That's kind of what I've spent my time doing, you know. Now I'm just exploring. I felt like I was just grinding so hard for so long to now really just explore. But gorgeous planet. Oh, look at that shot. How about that? That's pretty cool. Where to next? So I haven't done much with Lenin. I should probably put some more time in there. This one I've been trying to find one of those other versions, the S-Class versions of that one fighter that I like. 32-8 slot fighter. But I, you know, on my way towards the Galactic Center at different distances, I was making planets. Same thing when I was going towards the Galactic Hub. Made quite a few bases on the way. when I was starting to get close. You know, and I wonder, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought there was no limit on bases. And I know I have a lot. I could have swore I had a lot more than this, actually. I wonder. Alright. Overgrown plus dinosaur. Well, that sounds fancy. What dinosaur is there? I've never seen the really big ones. I hear they're on Lennon. I haven't seen them. Maybe I'll have to go hunt for one and see. See if I can actually see it. It's a long-necked Diplo, I believe. A long-necked Diplo. So yeah, I think, you know, the biggest thing just going into Beyond and No Man's Sky multiplayer or online is just having everything unlocked that you possibly can, you know. As much of the missions as you can do, as much of the blueprints you can get for your bases and crafting, farming, and just kind of mastering those. You don't need to have S-class everything. I mean, that's really, it's not necessary, but I mean, if you want to hunt for them, you should. Alright, so I seem to think there was dinosaurs here. Nice looking planet, though. Good resources and whatnot. So let's build. Hopefully I have the resources I should. Let's build. Yeah. These. So that'll allow me to summon one of my exocrafts. Which one do I want to use? The bike, of course. Whoops. That didn't work out very well. I don't see many creatures at all. I'm guessing it's because it's the nighttime. Look at that drift. Look at that sweet drift, man. Oh, yeah. Can I just do this? And look at this field. Look how flat it is. It's very relatively flat in that section there. So I don't see any dinosaurs at all. No creatures. Let's actually head to New Lennon. I do want to see if I can find one of those long-necked dinosaurs. Plus, it's a fun planet to spend some time on. Maybe we'll look at a base or two. Never hurts to explore. So I'm going to delete this before I go, get my resources back, build another one on New Lennon. So, yeah, it's important when you're making your bases, try and label them something that makes sense to you. You know, that was Galactic Center, apparently only one jump away, 3,000 light years, from the center. Where is my Lennon base? No, that's someone else's. So yeah, I enjoyed the journey to the center of the galaxy manually. I thought it was really fun. I think it was worth it. you know, these are things that you can do, you know, but while you're waiting for Beyond to drop. You know, why not explore? A lot of people, you know, they just take the shortcut to the center. And I've thought about pushing into that next galaxy. That, you know, that would be another thing. Do I want to grab my bug out ship with all my resources and go into the next galaxy? It'd be fun. I don't know. I think there's only like maybe three people that have gone through all 255, I think. Maybe there's more, I don't know. But an impressive feat. And I think it sounds fun, actually. I would do this. I would do that journey over again. I thought it was really fun. I would do it at least a good number of times. But, you know, like I said, I'm holding off. Like, with multiplayer being changed, he's coming right for me, isn't he? You know, No Man's Sky Online with Beyond. Like I said, can we travel from one galaxy to the next? Because if you can, that would be rather motivational for, I think, a lot of things. And then, especially if they have some sort of a dual base building type thing where you can do it as like a clan or as a city. I mean, just possibilities. You know, you can have people mining rare resources in just certain galaxy types. And you'd have to trade intergalactically, potentially. Well, anyway, I'm gonna keep looking for those dinosaurs, but let's call this, let's put this to the end right here.